Hello, everyone. Now, as you know, Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time. And one of the many reasons why is because they're always putting something in context. So let me tell you how this one goes. If someone has a take that a Michael Jordan fan thinks is taking away from Michael Jordan, or that they think might go against Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan fan will start putting something in context. Now, I am going to explain to you why all of this is ridiculous. Here are the reasons why, in no particular order. First, when they put things in context, they are disrespecting NBA people. Next, when they put things in context, they are dismissing NBA people. Next, when they claim to respect the game and they disrespect NBA people, they are contradicting themselves. Next, when they claim to love the game and they dismiss NBA people, they are contradicting themselves. Next, understand why they are putting things in context. They are just trying to find a way to make Michael Jordan the number one NBA player of all time. That right there shows you that they're not reliable. Next, they have a history of always trying to make Michael Jordan the number one NBA player of all time. That right there shows you that they're not reliable. Next, when it comes to some other topics, Michael Jordan fans partly go by fans voting. But on this topic, not all the fans agree with them. And so on this topic, some Michael Jordan fans won't partly go by fans voting. Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of the players that Michael Jordan played with don't agree with them when it comes to this context thing? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of the players that Michael Jordan played against don't agree with them when it comes to this context thing? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that lots of the owners, general managers, coaches, and other people whom Michael Jordan played for don't agree with them when it comes to this context thing? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that most NBA Hall of Famers, most NBA legends, most NBA scouts, and most NBA experts don't agree with them when it comes to this context thing? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that Michael Jordan doesn't agree with them when it comes to this context thing? Next, even though most of these people don't agree with Michael Jordan fans sometimes still reference one or more of these people on another topic or on other topics. Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that usually the only people who do this context thing are Michael Jordan fans? Next, how do Michael Jordan fans explain that some of the Michael Jordan fans don't even agree with each other on this context thing? Next, if this was the other way around and they were an NBA Hall of Famer or some other NBA person and they found out that there was a younger NBA fan who wasn't there when they played, who doesn't have that much tape of them, who isn't an NBA expert on the past NBA and so on, and they found out that this younger NBA fan was doing this context thing, they wouldn't agree with that fan. Next, if some non-Michael Jordan fan was doing this and it went against Michael Jordan, they wouldn't agree with that non-Michael Jordan fan. Next, they don't do this context thing for other NBA things. Next, they don't do this context thing for other sports. Next, they don't do this context thing for other things outside of sports. Next, they don't do this context thing for who they pick as the number 2 NBA player of all time, and the number 3 NBA player of all time, and the number 4 NBA player of all time, and so on. Next, they don't do this context thing for the number 1 player and the number 2 player and the number 3 player and so on in other sports. Next, they don't do this context thing for the number 1 guy or the number 1 thing or the number 2 guy or the number 2 thing or the number 3 guy or the number 3 thing and so on in other things outside of sports. Next, Michael Jordan fans are putting NBA people in a lose-lose situation. If the NBA people do well, they can say, well, hey, you have to put things in context. If the NBA people don't do well, they can say, well, hey, they didn't do well. Next, if an NBA person is doing their job, the context doesn't matter. The person is doing their job. Next, if an NBA legend did well and you put something into context that you think shows that they were not that good, then what are they supposed to do for you to think that they were that good? Next, I want you to think about something logical when it comes to all of the things that they put in context. Is it logical to put everything in context, or to put most things in context, or to put half of the things in context, or to put some of the things in context? Next, I want you to think about something logical. Is it logical to put something or some things in context in an unfair way to hold it against an NBA person or to hold it against some NBA people? Next, I want you to think about something logical. Is it logical to put something or some things in context in an unfair way to help an NBA person or to help some NBA people? Next, if Michael Jordan fans are going to put things in context and act like things would be different, they are going by hypothetical things. That means they don't know for sure what would happen. Next, if Michael Jordan fans are going to put things in context and come up with hypothetical things, then they could do that for every person who ever played in the NBA. Next, if you are going to put things in context, then you are putting their whole NBA careers in context, and you are putting lots of NBA years in context. You know how ridiculous that is? If you are going to question some NBA legends, then are you going to put lots of NBA legends' careers in context? If you are going to question lots of NBA years, are you going to put lots of NBA years in context? Next, Michael Jordan fans are not really putting things in context. They are trying to find ways to take away from NBA legends who are a threat to Michael Jordan. Or they are trying to find ways to take away from a time that is a threat to the time Michael Jordan was in the NBA. Next, when Michael Jordan fans put something into context, sometimes they don't even do it in a reliable way. They go by something that is not factual, or they cherry pick something, or they contradict themselves, and I'm sure there are more examples, but you get the point. Next, when Michael Jordan fans put something into context, they don't even put everything into context. They go by whatever they like. Next, when Michael Jordan fans put an NBA legend in context, or an NBA time in context, they find something negative. But when they put Michael Jordan into context, or they put Michael Jordan's time into context, they do not find something negative. Next, if you want to put things in context, then go by the statistics. The statistics put things in context. Next, there is no factual criteria to put everything into context. Next, there is no factual way to put everything into context. Hey, please subscribe, and if you disagree with me on something, you can go on my program and show me your facts on whatever you disagree on. If you want to go on, let's set it up. Send me an email. The email is right there in the description section. Thank you.